So we all know there is someone who we trust. Maybe not necessarily one of these guys unless you're slightly insane, but perhaps you trust him. I mean, how can you not? It's Trevor Noah. But most likely you trust your friends and family, belonging to the 83% of people who value the opinion of those they love. Alternatively, less than 50% of South Africans trust the media they receive, meaning brand messages are treated with skepticism and are ultimately ignored. We live in the era of the empowered consumers, who are able to block ads, refuse brand communication efforts, and have the freedom to voice their opinions on multiple platforms where consumers listen and influence one another. This limits a brand's ability to reach and communicate with consumers, presenting barriers of mistrust and a reluctance to listen. This is a big problem. How do brands communicate credible information to an unwilling audience? Marketers have quite a nifty solution, employing tactics using influencers, opinion leaders, and brand ambassadors as individuals who consumers trust to communicate information. Influencers generate their own authentic content for their audience who values their opinions and willingly receives them. Opinion leaders, on the other hand, provide objective reviews based on superior knowledge or expertise in their field, whilst brand ambassadors represent and promote a brand they have a direct link or relationship with. All of these individuals use word of mouth, built up networks, and their influence, building a picture of authenticity and overcoming barriers of mistrust and reluctance apparent in today's consumers.
And now, on to influencers. So, what exactly is an influencer? It's someone who convinces others to make purchases. They're also very persuasive and knowledgeable of certain topics. Now, influencers also build relationships with their followers, and many people have this strong desire to imitate them. They post interesting content on many different social media platforms, and this helps to generate buzz and awareness for their brands. Typically, they have many followers that they constantly interact with. So the types of influencers can be separated into three categories. First, influencers are based on the number of followers they have. These are nano, micro, macro, and mega influencers that have the lowest to the highest number of followers. The type of content includes your Instagrammers, YouTubers, bloggers and vloggers, and even podcasters. Lastly, industry includes your beauty influencers, fashion, food, travel, and even comedy or entertainment. So, now with the challenges of using influencers. Nowadays, it's so easy for influencers to buy fake followers and pretend that they have a large following. And it's also difficult to find the right influencers that match your brand as well as its values. Giving influencers creative freedom seems to be daunting for certain brands, and this affects an influencer's authenticity. The fluctuating trends in everyday life make it hard to understand what's in and what just isn't trendy right now. And also, it's challenging to really determine how much money an influencer has made for you. It's difficult to measure the actual return on investment they've contributed to a brand.
Secondly, we move on to opinion leaders. Who are they exactly? Well, they're regarded as experts in their field and someone we look up to and strive to be like. Think about Steve Jobs, how we listen to him about each having a personal computer. The meme lord Elon Musk himself, and how we listen to him about his dream of colonizing Mars. And it's not even limited to that, it's also a group of friends that you look up to. Opinion leaders can be important for a number of reasons. Firstly, they remain neutral. These experts are objective when they review and speak about brands, using their expertise in industry to give valuable feedback. Secondly, honesty builds trust. Every brand wants positive reviews, but in the case of opinion leaders, even a negative statement can build trust, showing a brand isn't too good to be true. Thirdly, their opinions help create early adopters. We know that it can be scary to try new things, but opinion leaders giving honest reviews help us to make the first move in making a purchase. And if everyone behaves the same, brands' profits will skyrocket as the majority follow. But there's still challenges that opinion leaders face. In a world where social media makes everything public, having one controversial post can put you on blast. and opinion leaders could lose credibility if they find themselves in this situation. Also, opinions may differ between opinion leaders, and it's not to say that one is wrong, but they may have different viewpoints, which leaves the consumer feeling confused as to who they should listen to. There's also the consideration knowing that kids listen to opinion leaders too. The biggest problem here is that they're easily influenced, so that any statements that can be said that are suited to an older audience could affect the kids. Finally, there are two types of opinion leaders. The first being polymorphic, which basically means they're an expert in multiple fields. The best example of this is the manager in a department. They have likely worked in all of the positions under them, and therefore have an in-depth understanding of the roles to be able to give advice. Secondly, monomorphic. This is very common in the medical industry, as these opinion leaders are experts in a singular field. Doctors may recommend certain medication and have the knowledge to understand why it's effective, but make sure you listen to multiple recommendations before you find yourself listening to that one dentist that hates Colgate toothpaste.
The last one we are looking at is brand ambassadors. Does it sound familiar to you? To make it simple, brand ambassadors are people who represent a company and its brand, and help the company to promote its products or services in order to increase brand awareness and sales. Today's society is all about technology and networking. Advertising positive brand image on social media with the use of celebrities as brand ambassadors increases positive electronic word of mouth. A celebrity attracts consumers' attention, gaining influence over a consumer's purchase decision. Therefore, brand ambassadors are regarded as a highly effective marketing tool aiding the development of brand reputation and consumer perception. Brand ambassadors can be divided into two types. The first one is people who are very popular and have high social networks, such as celebrities, industry experts, or authorities in certain fields. They usually receive compensation and gifts from the company they represent. Hiring a celebrity who is well known amongst the public creates an opportunity for expansion of the brand's popularity, ultimately achieving the goal of increased brand awareness and sales. Then, we have the second type of brand ambassadors who usually do not receive compensation from the company and are considered to be ordinary people with little publicity and lower level of public influence. They can be anyone from all fields of work and representatives, such as employees and customers. The reason for a company to use this type of brand ambassador is because they are the company's most valuable assets. They have superior knowledge of the company, the brand values and offerings, easily cultivating positive relationships through their networks. However, there are certain challenges influencing brand ambassadors too. Firstly, the difficult decision in choosing the right ambassadors who fits the company's brand creates an image of credibility that influences a consumer's perception and association with brand. The incorrect decision creates confusion and misunderstanding amongst consumers. Secondly, increasing demands for authenticity places pressure on ambassadors to meet both consumers' demands and company demands without compromising their credibility.
They all seem the same, right? But they definitely differ. To tie all that information together, we look at various characteristics that play a role in the lives of influencers, opinion leaders, and brand ambassadors. As presented in the Venn diagram, there are many different characteristics that each one possesses, but authenticity plays a major role in all. The characteristics listed here are what companies look at when choosing to work with either one. The similarities between influencers, opinion leaders, and brand ambassadors are that they all pass a message on through word of mouth and create brand awareness among individuals. With the fourth industrial revolution underway, technology is the main platform used by these individuals to carry out their roles. All these individuals must also be suited to what the company envisions itself as. As pointed out at the start of this video, the main differences are that opinion leaders voice their opinions, brand
brand ambassadors promote their brand and its products, and influencers persuade individuals into performing the desired actions that they require. Alright then, that's all folks. We hope you enjoyed learning about influencers, opinion leaders, and brand ambassadors just as much as we did.